Okay, welcome back then to your next lesson for this week. Okay, and this time your lesson is about changing fraction into decimal. Okay, because after this lesson, we're gonna proceed next to decimal numbers. Okay, and with that, next we're gonna add decimals. We're gonna subtract decimals, multiply and divide decimals. Okay, but this time, for transition, we're gonna change first how to change fraction into decimals. Okay, so the same way that we're going to take this. I'm just gonna give five examples for this lesson. Okay, now let's have 3/5. Okay, number one example, 3/5. Now how do we change 3/5 here as fraction into decimal? By dividing. Okay, dividing 3 divided by 5. Okay, and your answer will be in its decimal number or in decimal form. Now let's divide here. Now 3 here, let's divide 3 with 5. 3 here for our dividend and 5 for our divisor. Okay, so 3/5 is the same as 3 divided by 5. Now how do we do this? Okay, so if we divide now 3 divided by 5, how many 5 are there in the 3? Of course there's none, because 3 is less than 5. There is no 5 in 3. But we can answer this through decimal number. Okay, so how? First is you put a decimal point here, because to the left, that's the whole number, while to the right of the decimal point are the decimal numbers. So by dividing, let's first put a decimal point here, and let's have a decimal point here also at the top for our answer, and at the top of 3 is 0. Okay, because we are now dealing with decimal numbers. Now, so 3 divided by 5 cannot be, so we're going to borrow 0. Okay, for us to answer this, let's borrow 0. So we have now 30. So we can now answer after the decimal point. Now 30 divided by 5 is 6. Okay, we have 6, 5 inside 30. Now 6 times 5 is 30. Okay, so 30 minus 30 is 0. Therefore, we have 0.6 for our answer. Now 3/5 is the fraction form, while 0.6 is its decimal number. Okay, how do we change 3/5 into 0.6? By dividing the numerator to its denominator. Okay, let's have some more example. Let's have number 2. How about there is a whole number like 2 and 1/4. Okay, how do we change this mixed number into a decimal number? Simple, just leave 2 here as the whole number, and you divide 1 divided by 4. Okay, so that would be your first process. If you divide this, let's just set aside first 2. Okay, 2 here. Okay, 2 here. Let's divide first 1 and 1 over 4. So 1 divided by 4. Okay, so we have 1 for the dividend, 4 for our divisor. Now, we cannot divide because 1 here is less than 4. So how do we do that? The same. Let's put first here a decimal point. Decimal point. To the left of the decimal points are the whole numbers, or to the right of the decimal point are the decimal numbers. So because we cannot divide 1 to 4, we're gonna borrow 0. Okay? Let's put 0 first here, aligned to the 1. So we're gonna borrow 0 here. We have now 10. We can now divide. How many 4 are there in a 10? There's 2. Okay? Let's multiply. 2 times 4, that's 8. Okay? And let's subtract. Okay? So 10 minus 8, that's 2. Now 2 divided by 4 cannot be. You cannot divide because 2 is less than 4. Now we're gonna borrow again 0. So we have 20. Now 20 divided by 4 is 5. Now 5 times 4 is 20. And subtract 20 minus 20 is 0. So we have 0.25 for our fraction, which is 1/4. Now let's add 2 plus 0.25. Okay, that will be 2.25. Okay, so meaning to say 2 and 1/4 here is equals to 2.25, or the decimal number of 2 and 1/4 is 2.25. Okay, we just changed the fraction form into its decimal number. Okay, let's have example number 3. Let's have 4 over 5. 4 over 5. Okay. We're gonna change 4/5 here as in fraction form into a decimal number. How? In dividing 4 divided by 5. Okay. Let's divide 4 for our dividend and 5 for our divisor. Now how many 4 are there in the 5? There's none. Okay. So we're gonna use a decimal number. First, put decimal point here, decimal point, and 0 above 4. Okay, because we're dealing with decimal numbers. We cannot subtract, we cannot divide 4 with 5 because 4 is less than 5. So we have to borrow 0 so that we can subtract, we can divide. Now how many 5 are there in 40? There's 8. So we have 8 here. Now 8 times 5 is 40. 40 minus 40 is 0. So we have 0.8. Therefore, 4 over 4/5 for the fraction form, 0.8 for its decimal number. Okay? So we have changed 4/5 into a decimal number. Okay, let's have example number 4. That's 1 over 60. We have 160. Okay, we have a mixed number, 1 for the whole number and 6 over 8 for the fraction. So let's set aside 1 first here, and we're going to divide 6 divided by 8. Okay, so to get the fraction form. Now let's divide 6 for the dividend, 8 for the divisor. Now, because we cannot divide, let's use the decimal number, decimal point here to distinguish the whole number to the decimal numbers, and 0 here above 6. Now because we cannot divide, 6 to 8, let's borrow 0. So that we have 60. Okay? Now, 60 divided by 8, so we have 7. Okay? Because 7 times 8 is 56. Okay? Now, let's subtract 60 minus 56, that's 4. Okay? Now, 4 divided by 8, we cannot divide because 4 is less than 8. So let's borrow 0. Okay? Let's borrow 0. We have 0 here. Okay? Now, 40 divided by 8 is 5. Now, 5 times 8 is 40. And 40 minus 40 is 0. So we have 0.75. Now, let's add 1 for the whole number here plus 0.75. So we have 1.75. For our decimal number, 1 over 68. 1 over 68 here is equals to 1.75 for its decimal form. We have changed the fraction into decimal number. Now let's solve the last example, example number 5. Okay, let's have 2, 7, and 8. 2, 7, and 8. We have a mixed number. 2 for the whole number, 7 over 8 for the fraction. Now let's decide 2 first. Here, now 7 over 8 will be 7 divided by 8. Okay, to get this decimal number. Now let's divide 7 for the dividend, 8 for our divisor. And because we cannot subtract, we cannot divide because 7 is less than 8, let's use the decimal number, decimal point here, and 0 here above 7. Okay? Now so that we can divide, we're going to borrow 0. Okay? That will become 70. Now 70. Now how many 8 are there in the 70? We have 8. Okay, we have 8 because 8 times 8 is 64. Okay, so 70 minus 64, there's 6. Okay, we have 6. Now 6 divided by 8 cannot be because 6 less than 8. So let's borrow again 0. Okay, so we have 60. Now 60 divided by 8, we have 7. Okay, because 7 times 8 is 56. Okay, so 60 minus 56, there's 4. The same, 4 divided by 8 cannot be because 4 is less than 8. Let's borrow again 0. So we have 40. Now 40 divided by 8 is 5. 5 times 8 is 40. And 40 minus 40 is 0. So we have 0.875 or 7 over 8. Okay, now let's add 2 plus 0.875. That will be 2.875. Okay, for our fraction, that's 2, 7 over 8. Okay, so we have changed 278 here, the fraction form, into a decimal number. Okay, so that's how we change fractions into decimals. Now this is an introduction. Next lesson we're gonna have decimal. We're gonna deal with decimal numbers. Okay, so that's it for today's lesson, Ben. See you again for our next lesson. Thank you very much.